Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Major LMB-033. This is a pair. When you buy one, you'll be sent a pair of mounting tabs or mounting brackets for Adams Rite material, whether it be a lock or an electric strike or a manual strike. These mounting tabs are used in a somewhat unusual, not unusual, a somewhat less common application, but still very common. It's a confluence of, and you'll use these when you have a radiused door style, you have generally a style width that's not narrow style. You might have medium style or wide style, because you wouldn't necessarily use a mounting bridge for that, like an Adams Rite mounting bridge, or their tube spacer style mount. Adams Rite has three types of mounting hardware to get material installed to doors: the tabs, the bridges, and the spacer tubes. So if you've got a medium or a wide style, like maybe, I forget medium style, is it 3.5 inch or 4, and then wide style is about 6 inch. Narrow style is about 1.75 inches. So when you've got radius door edge, narrow style, and a T-slot extrusion generally down the edge of that door for a slid-in pile weather strip, that's when you're going to use the LMB-033, because it's going to include these two black oxide machine screws, an Allen drive, and an unusual sort of shaped profile. They'll have a couple of rubber bumpers, rubber washers as well. You're going to install these tabs down into that T-slot, or that preparation made for the weather stripping provision. You'll counterbore, and then you'll install the tabs, and you are then going to get two each of a like an aluminum style color and a dark bronze style color that we have here for installing the hardware actually to the installed mounting tabs. And frankly, that's an accommodation that Major makes based on their skill and understanding of the application that the manufacturer, Adams Rite, doesn't make. I would imagine, you're going to have Adams Rite material so you on your installed doors, so you have the opportunity to maybe reuse this. But if you're adding something, access control, very typical and common. You could simply have a pair of doors, and they're wanting access control added, but you might be leaving in place the bolt that's there, because at night they want to bolt that, but during the day you'll have access control. So yeah, you're adding something to that opening and leaving all the old stuff and not having an opportunity to reuse something. So here's the tab. The offset on this is specifically intended for beveled edge doors. Okay, if you have a flat style, a square style edge door or a beveled edge style, you're going to be dealing with different mounting brackets, but we'll take a look at that when we get to the screen view. A couple of basic dimensional properties. It's made of steel. Okay, this is zinc coated for corrosion resistance. Overall height about 2.5. Overall width about 1 inch. That material's thickness looks like it's about 150 thousandths. Let's take a look at that just for the sake of archiving it. About 132 thousandths thick. Okay, so just heavy on 1/8 of an inch. And you're going to clean, the top hole or the single hole on the short end is going to be for your mounting. They're going to have these holes drilled and tapped here. You're only going to use one of them in each tab, depending on where you lay that out. There could be a piece of Adams Rite hardware that I don't know the point of having these two holes, other than it's not a mistake. They're there for a reason. I just don't know the application. My guess is that there's going to be a piece of equipment standard from Adams Rite that has a center to center of this, and then another very common piece of equipment that has a center to center of this. So if you were to prep it for the longer version and something shorter comes into play, you're in good shape. Would be my guess on that. So let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at all of the supporting information. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, here's the item that we are indeed looking at, the LMB-033 lock mounting brackets for Adams Rite locks in radius door styles. Lock mounting bracket, 2 brackets per pack with fasteners. When you buy one, we're going to ship you 1 package, not 1 piece, but 1 set of 2. Use these brackets when installing an Adams Rite style lock in an aluminum frame door. One end of the bracket is offset for use with radius doors. The other end is flat and designed for radius doors with a weather strip channel down the center. I don't have any cross sections of aluminum storefront with an integrated provision for inserted gasketing. Actually, well, Conair is a name that really comes into play quite a bit in our industry when it comes to replacement hardware, but the Conair website, which I don't have much experience with at all, for sure under, you know, some of their tech drawings that are going to be here, you'll find doors. Technical library. Well, storefront framing, I would say. I might be down the wrong path here. Yeah, I believe that I am. Entrances. Yeah. Swing. Let's try this. Thermal entrances. I'm seeing all Revit files, and I don't think I have a client here to open up a Revit file. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so I went to their flush line entrances. Architectural detail manual. This could show us something. Yeah, look at that. Well, anyway, this is going to be the idea or the concept of what we're dealing with here. Some sort of provision. This is, you know, this is an example of what we're discussing. Your application could be one that does indeed require this LMB-033 to get it to work. This is showing a Conair specific astragal that we keep in stock, in fact. This is not one that will slide down into a T-slot. And I don't know that that's necessarily a mandatory requirement either. You know, obviously I'm grasping to try to show you an application of where you would expect to see this. And nothing is popping right out at me. But I would imagine if you're in the field and you see this, you'll say, yeah, that makes sense. That's what I need. So... they're a must for installing locks and doors that have a deep frame. I think what they mean by that is that not the narrow style, is what I imagine. All holes are tapped 1032, both zinc and black screws. Okay, if these are black, that's great. They'll work with either aluminum or Duranodic, and rubber spacers are supplied as well. You might need to pad something or build something up or out or move it around. That's what that's there for. Brackets are inch wide, 2.5 long, as we discussed, and zinc plated to resist rusting. Here are some images that we have of the item itself. That's everything that's in the package. Okay, let's keep going here. There's a single mounting tab. You do get, of course, 2 in the package. A side view showing that offset. Actually, I am going to tell you that offset to the best, most accurate way that I can with my caliper. I'm going to say that we're about 95 thousandths of an inch, and what I'm trying to say there is this. From here to here, about 95 thousandths or so, roughly speaking. Show a close-up view of the zinc coating and the tapped holes. The other side. And then your fastener package. Now there's a link below this video as well to the product brochure. Let's take a look at that. Lock mounting brackets. This is a neat little catalog that shows you different models. Now this split tail is what you might hear this referred to as. This is for a type of construction of door that you'll find occasionally out in the field. Amweld made a door that was like this. Other doors that are manufactured custom will have two pans that sit on top of each other, and they have a seam, a center seam down the edge of the door, and those are awful to prep hardware to. Awful. So that split tail allows you to get around that. Lock mounting brackets. Here we go. LMB-033. So pretty handy link here to be able to see all of the mounting brackets that they have for hardware. That if you are a field integrator, you're a locksmith, someone who is charged with the responsibility of maintaining hardware in aluminum storefront, this might be a page link that you might refer to. Speaking of links that you might refer to, there is a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page within our site, and from here you can pull up not only all of the major products we sell by means of this horizontal navigation as seen here, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the manufacturer's product catalog here. I would most definitely recommend a view into this catalog if you are that person who integrates hardware, maintains hardware, has to be responsible for it. This catalog, the first half, is full of security hardware, accessories, add-ons, different components that are fairly unique to Major. So you might want to scroll through here. The second half of the catalog is full of lock installation templates, jigs, patterns, kits. If you have doors and frames that require prepping for hardware, you'll absolutely want to review this catalog. They have products that can approach solving the problem from different points of origination. Meaning, you want to do a mortise pocket? Yeah, they've got a couple of different systems that can help you with that. Function holes, other pieces of hardware that will go into wood, aluminum, doors, things of that nature. So this catalog is incredibly helpful. I'm reasonably familiar with all of their material. Occasionally I have to call, and I did for this LMB-033 to get clarification on something. And they are always extremely helpful. So I'm reasonably familiar with all of these. I can usually speak off the cuff about how to use the material, and I can speak with a command of the understanding of the subject matter when it comes to prepping doors. So I know how to do all of that. I've done that for a long time. So let's wrap up this video on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, so Major is a line that I'm partial to, and it's not only because they have neat tools that allow you to help, that allow you to get your job done, but they have a very supportive crew of people over there. One gentleman in particular that I talk to almost exclusively, he's just a wealth of knowledge. He very much understands his product line and is able to basically say, you've got this from me, here's what that's used for. So it's not just someone who's doing data entry over there. They're extremely helpful. I can present to them, here's what I want to accomplish. Okay, here's what we would use. And it's just that quick with Major. You might not find that same level of expert command over the subject matter from other people that you might buy mounting tabs from. So keep Major in the back of your head. Not only for these things that you might just have in your truck if you're a locksmith that's out there running, but you might also want to consider Major as someone to purchase your investment quality templates, jigs, installation aids. I just sold their Hit 44 to a gentleman who works in a company that manufactures custom furniture in Pennsylvania, and just happens to be Pennsylvania. Could have been Ohio as well. Very, very nice gentleman, and he just needed to be able to drill locks and deadbolts in wood doors, and was always using the Quickset 138. Well, that's discontinued. And I said, well, what happened to your Quickset 138? He says, well, we were always borrowing it. And he says, it's time for me to buy one. Well, had he called 2 months ago, I could have sold him a Quickset 138, but we stepped right to the Hit 44. Was able to also provide him a carbide-tipped multi-spur bit, and he's off to the races. An extremely robust tool for doing your deadbolt preps, 2 3/8, 2 3/4. Very handy machine, very economical when you consider how robust and substantial its build quality is, and the years of use that you'll get out of it. And the carbide multi-spur is nice. Major has a carbide and a high-speed steel. The carbide is nice, even though it's substantially more expensive. It's double the cost. Let me rephrase that. It's only double the cost. Carbide can usually be far more expensive. But the advantage of that is you can sharpen that. And while it's, in my experience, it's not the way it was when it was new, of course it's not. And that has everything to do with who you send it to have sharpened as well. But you can always continue to get useful service out of a resharpened carbide tool. Anyway, if you have any questions on the LMB-033 by Major or any other Major product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.